Hello and welcome to my channel. Well, today I have a kind of a review of a product that's put out by Figures Toy Company. I actually got this from Classic TV Toys, and it's part of their wrestling collection. And you know what? I picked up a lot of their items before for other, projects. The Coffin, of course. I use these headphones for my Dr. Frankenstein. I've also purchased this big camcorder right here. I didn't notice that they have like a little megaphone. I'd like to get that. I wanted to put together some SWAT guys, and that would be really cool. They have their belts and their ring. Let's see what else. Here's some really cool accessories. They've got tombstones and some other items like a baseball bat with chain. I'm gonna have to check out some of these things. I think I picked up their barbed wire. That looks familiar. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this open because I'm gonna use it as a prop for a build that I'm working on today, and I'm hoping it works out really, really well. So let's go ahead and get this opened. What do we got here? Instructions. Okay, so let's take a look at the instruction. Step 1. Okay, I guess that's the way it comes. Step 2. Lock the stretcher into place here, down at the bottom. It's like a little tab. We'll take a look at that. And then lock the headrest into place using the little tab there. Okay, that might come in handy. Okay, here's the actual stretcher. I'm going to keep the box there. Let's see, resealable cover. That's neat. I guess to protect it when it's not in use. Okay, so where was that tab? Oh, I see it. Locks into place right there. So I have that locked into place right there. And there was that headrest, right? No, that's not it. Maybe it's on this. Oh yeah, that is it. Okay, so that also locks into place. It has a little attachment here. Okay, what happened to the stretcher? Okay, so that's the stretcher. I've got a figure here. I have this Scooby-Doo that I got a while back. It was a used item, and it's put together by a company called Equity. And you can kind of guess where my project's going. But you know what? Hold on, that's just not staying up. Let's see. Squish that down in there. So, it's just not staying up for some reason. Oh, okay, there we go. You'll notice that it has these like little straps here. Now, I wish those straps were real so I could get Scooby to be attached to that stretcher. But this is the stretcher, and I'm using it as part of a build. Let me pull this guy over here. A Scooby-Doo villain that I'm working on. I don't know if you can recognize this guy, but it's Dr. Coffin. I don't remember what series of Scooby-Doo this guy was in, but I know that it was definitely in the 70s, maybe late 70s. I don't think early 80s, but I might be wrong. But yeah, that's a terrific looking head sculpt that I picked up, at Trucker Doug's toy box over on Etsy. So I'm really excited about getting this custom together. I also picked up the gloves and a couple of items from Classic TV Toys. This is called their tan body, but it's really pale. So I'm going to use the tan body in conjunction with the gloves. I might have to do a little bit of drilling because I don't know if these gloves fit as well as I'd like them to. Maybe I just need to work them. I'll drill that a little bit bigger. It's not a problem. So I can get those gloves in. And then I got some of their brown shoes. These are the rubber ones. These are cool. And let's see, what else do I have? I have their gray pants, and I have their scrubs. Now in the episode, Dr. Coffin had a white scrub and white head covering. I'm going to paint this same blue. And I picked up this really cool color a while back. It's called Caribbean. and it's an apple barrel that I got at Walmart. So I'm going to use this for the for that head piece right there. And for his creepy eyes, I'm going to be using a limeade. And for the flesh, I don't know, I have a flayed one flesh by Citadel. I'm going to go ahead and pull that out because I think I've used it before and it's matched that pretty well. So let me go ahead and get this guy primed. I think I'm going to prime this in white paint, but I'm thinking of the gloves, priming them in a gray and just kind of like leaving them that way. So we'll see how it goes. I hope you stay tuned. This should be a fun little build, and I'm a real huge fan of Scooby-Doo. So I'm looking forward to using my stretcher and my new Dr. Coffin to get some really cool, I guess, pics. So let me go ahead and get these things primed, and I'll be right back. Okay, that head primed up nicely. I used a white spray paint on this one. It's a flat white. Because I really want those colors to pop, you know. I've got this like Caribbean, it's really cool blue, and I really want it to kind of like come through. I did paint the gloves a gray, similar to what they were before with the resin, and I'm thinking about using a semi-gloss clear coat on these just to kind of make them like shiny and look like rubber. So those are the gloves. I'm going to put them off to the side. And I think I'm going to start with the face. And for the face, I'm going to use a flesh tone that's a little lighter. And it's like, it's a Citadel paint, and they use it for their zombies and stuff. So this is called Layer Flayed One Flesh. And so this is like a layer paint. It's a little thicker. So I'm going to start with that, and I'm just going to cover the entire head. Well, not the entire head, but the face. Sorry. Let me get my water. Wet my brush. And I'm just using a larger brush for this because I want to cover it quickly. Oh, hang on a second. My paint, I think I need to shake it up. Looks a little thin. Layered paints are thinner than bases, but they're not supposed to be that thin. Okay, that's a little better. Go ahead and get that on. Looks like I might need a couple of coats though. Yeah, this paint looks a little thin. What happened? Yeah, these paints don't last forever. Let me try shaking it up one more time. I may have to go out to the store and get some more. That's a little better. It looks like it's going to be a couple of coats. So I'm just going to go ahead and get into the eyes. I don't really need to cover the eyes, but I'm going to get inside those eyes. Looks like I'm going to need a couple of coats though, for whatever reason. That's weird. Okay, I'm almost done. And you can see it's just, I'm just kind of putting on that first coat, just making sure I cover everything behind the ears. This is a really cool model to paint, and it's a real simple one too. I don't think this is going to be all that detailed. I mean, as far as the painting is concerned, I think it's going to be a simple paint job. So if you're looking at getting into customizing and you love Scooby-Doo and you want to have some like custom villains, this might be a good one to start with maybe. We'll see as we get into it, because what I like to do with my Scooby-Doo villains is I highlight the little lines and stuff with a black wash, and then that way I get like a cartoon look effect. Okay, so first coat down. If I missed anything, I'm going to go back and apply a second coat. But just making sure that I get that first coat done. So there we go. Now I'm going to switch over to that Caribbean paint by Apple Barrel. You know, when I need like specialty colors and I'm only going to use them for limited, I guess I'm going to have a limited use of it, I go to Apple Barrel because it's inexpensive. And, you know, you may have to apply a couple of coats, but it looks like I had a couple of coats that I got to apply with that Citadel anyway. Oh, this one. What's up with my paints? Weird. I may need a palette for this. I'll be back. Okay. I just have a bunch of these lids from school. So I'm just going to put the paint on that. Yeah, I'm going to need a couple coats of this as well. I think I used this on what other paint job did I use this on? I can't remember. It's a pretty cool color though, isn't it? So once I get this down, I'm going to have to let it dry and come back and do the second coat. Yeah, these are original head sculpts too. You can't find them like, you know, like sometimes I'll find stuff online from different other, you know, like other vendors and stuff. They usually get their stuff from files online, and I'm able to track them down. But the guy who runs Trucker Doug's Toy Box, his name is Chad. He produces these original sculpts, and sometimes these original sculpts end up, you know, as customs that are sold too. Because, you know, for whatever reason, some people just can't do the customs. Maybe it's a physical disability or something like that. So, you know, I guess it's good that we have these head sculpts so that, you know, those of us who like customizing can get in there and kind of like play with it, you know, and do our own interpretation of the model or the figure. Okay, it looks like I'm done there. Okay, I can't find where this. Oh, I went into the look. See, there's the line. I went too far, so I'm gonna have to. I'm going back to paint that anyway, so not a big deal. Just pay attention. That's the end line right there for the cap. Okay, I'm gonna let this dry, and I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna do the second coat. I'll probably do that off camera, but I think it's looking good up to this point. Okay, you know what? I had to run out and I had to get some more of this Flayed One Flesh because the paint that I had was really, I don't know what happened to it. Maybe it went rancid or something. I've had it for a while, so let me go ahead and add that second coat to the to that headpiece because, you know, I've done the flesh. I repainted it, and you can see it's a lot more consistent now. But this is my third coat on this little surgical cap. Because this Apple Barrel paint really requires a lot of a few layers. So I'm just going to do this touch up, and then I'm going to do the eyes. You can see I'm paying attention to the border here of the cap, because this is going to be my final application, so I need to make sure that everything is really tight on this, and that I take care of any loose areas that I have. It seems to have done that, and then just the rest of the base work. And I think I'm going to use a wash on this. I've got some blue washes. I'm going to take a look at what I have and kind of determine which one's going to be the best solution for a wash on these like little folds and wrinkles. Okay, I think that's good. Now to do the eyes. I've got this color too also. Let me cap this. I've got this color too that I picked up from Walmart a while back. And this is what I'm using for the eyes. I'm using something called Limeade. Oh, you know what? I just realized I don't have my light on. Hang on. That's a lot better. I'm going to need that light so I can see. This is a really neat green color, and I think it matches the eyes that he had pretty closely. And if you get a little bit into the flesh, it's not a worry at this time, because I'm gonna use a technique to kind of like cartoonize, if that's even a word, this figure by using a black wash to kind of like accentuate the pencil lines that would have been there. What happened to my light? Let me check it. So you can see this is not a difficult figure to be painting, or this head. It's actually been pretty easy. Looks like I'm going to need a couple coats of this though, so that's what that eye's going to look like. Get the other one. And again, you just kind of like push back into this little border right here. And it'll be really easy to clean up if you make any mistakes, just because you can use that that layer paint, that Kislev, not Kislev flesh, layer, what is it, Flayed One flesh, to kind of like clean up any areas that you got. And like I said, that black line that we're going to put there to show the pencil marks is going to help as well. Just need to make sure that I give it a good covering. It looks like it's doing pretty well. Let's see, should I? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get my, I have a wash here, Nullen's oil. This is a gloss, but it really doesn't matter. I have another one here. I haven't opened it yet. I got this while I was at the store too. The regular Nullen's oil. But I think I'm gonna just go ahead and use this just to kind of get rid of it. Because if my paints are going bad, I just need to use them. Let's see, I'm gonna need a very thin brush for this application. See what I got over here. That's pretty thin. Okay, I'm gonna cap this, and I'll show you what I'm doing with the lines. I still haven't painted the eyebrows yet. I'm probably gonna hold off on that until I get the lines done. But the lines are very simple. You just kind of like trace over what's already there. And again, cleanup. If you have to do any cleanup, you just go back with your flesh tone, your Flayed One flesh, and you get that taken care of. And you can see that this kind of mimics the pencil lines. And just be careful with this one, because you know this is this requires I guess the most skill in this paint job. However, if you do make a mistake, like I said, like I just made that one, it's pretty easy to correct. So you can kind of see where this is going. And then around the eye. That really gives him a sinister appearance, doesn't it? See, look at that. It's amazing what these washes and these paints can do. And I'm going to go around the cap. And I do this pretty much with all of the Scooby-Doo characters that I customize. Like I said, it's not hard to do. If you're looking at customizing a Scooby-Doo character, this would be an easy one for you to start with. Okay, you can see I messed up all over that near the lip. So I'm gonna have to go back and fix that, but that's great because then you can see how it's done. I think the same thing with this nose. I might have to go back and touch that up. So you can see it doesn't look real tight yet, and that's because, like I said, I'm gonna have to go back and do a little touch up. But this effect is well worth the time and effort. And you can see that I only put one coat down on the eyes, and there's a reason for that because, as I said, when I go back and I do my touch-up, that's when I'll add that second coat to the eyes. And let's see, did I miss anything? Oh, the ear and the top. Okay, let me get that ear. And then I have to let this dry before I continue on, so. Might as well go all the way. I hadn't planned on doing the back of the head, but yeah, I'm here. Oh yeah, I had to do the cap. Let's see the top of the ears. Going to try to be a little more careful here. This touch-up is going to be a little more difficult. Because that apple barrel paint doesn't cover very well. Okay. Let me get underneath his chin, and I'm going to let him dry. Oh, it looks like I need to do a little touch up here anyway. Okay. I'm gonna let that dry and I'll come back to it. I may do a little touch up on the cap. I noticed there was a place there, and also on the chin, and I'll do those before we do the main touch up. All right, now that it's dry, I'm just gonna simply go back and I'm gonna tighten up those lines on the face. And to do that, I'm just gonna use that same flesh tone that Flayed One Flesh, and just push it to the edge of the boundaries for the paint that I laid down. Try to keep the lines clean. See, like right here, I'm gonna have to add a second coat to that because that was a big splotch there. Also the nose. Looks like I'm gonna need a little more black there. And the lips, yeah, this is definitely gonna be a couple of coats. Just because the black paint or the black wash is a little bit more difficult to cover. But you can see just like adding to that boundary kind of like makes that line look a little sharper. And a little bit more you know, in line with the animation. Well, there's a big area here to cover up. So I'm just going to go back and I'm going to take care of all these little areas and do the second coats as necessary. But at least that gives you an idea of how that works. Let me go back and do the second coat to the eye because I'm going to clean up those eyes in the same manner. I'm going to take that green, that lime green again, and just add to those eyes because I want to go ahead and paint that iris pupil thing, black dot. And to do that, I just need to make sure that these eyes are cleared up or cleaned up to the best of my ability. And I have a lighter lime green too that I was thinking I'd use for like an accent, like a little highlight. And you can see how that adds another coat to deepen the color and to also clean up those lines around the eyes. Okay, so once that's dry, I'll go ahead and add that little black dot. So that's what it's looking like. Looks like I might have to touch up a little bit on the on that little cap, that surgical cap. So let me get my blue out. And it's again the same process. You may have to do a couple of coats just to cover the black, but just go back and you just tighten it up. You can see there around the ear. And over here on this ear as well. Okay. So looking good. Gonna let that dry and do a second coat, and I think I'm almost done. I think the only thing I need to do now is I have to check those eyebrows. I think they're black. So let me go back and check that. Okay, those are black, so this is gonna make my job a little bit easier, I think. So I'm gonna take my Abaddon Black by Citadel, and I'm just gonna paint those eyebrows. They're nice and big, so they're not hard at all. Just get yourself a smaller brush, and you should just be able to get those on with no fuss. You know what, that eyebrow covers the entire eye. So let me get down here. Trying not to get it on that eye I just painted. Okay, gonna have to touch up a little bit there. But again, I think this is gonna be pretty easy. Because the eyebrow is pretty much drawn out for you. And it's pretty big, so, you know, that gives you a lot of wiggle room. The hardest part is going to be getting close to the eye without getting into it. There we go. Still going to have to go back and touch up a little bit, but pretty happy with them so far. Oh, you know what? Let me just go ahead and put those little dots in there. Oh, I better do it with Nolan's oil. Well, yeah, you just like do a little circle in there, and anything you get over, go back and clean up. Boy, he's looking pretty good. be back. Yeah, after the various touch-ups, I think he's looking pretty good. Next thing I'm going to try is I'm going to use this shade right here. It's Drakenhof Nightshade, and it's like a blue wash. I'm going to dilute it a little bit, and I'm going to use it for the cap that he has, the surgical cap, just to kind of like, I guess, highlight some of the indentations there, the folds and stuff. You can see how it's working. Just to give it a little bit more, I guess, dimension. That looks a little bit better. And then I talked about putting in a little bit lighter shade of green into his eyes. Now this is the original one I used, this Limeade. I'm going to add this Lime Tree just to the upper parts of the eye. I'm going to have to do a little cleanup too. I saw that there was my iris pupil went a little too far into the eye. It's on this one right here. So, going to do a little cleanup there. Okay, and then the lighter stuff I'm going to put on the upper part of the eye. Just to kind of give it a little bit of a highlight. You can see it's not that much lighter. But it does something. Oops, looks like I got a little into the iris. See if I can pop that out. Might have to put a little bit more black in there. Messed up my touch-up, so. All right. Let's see, anything else I can do? I thought about doing a little highlight with this Key West, but I think that this color right here matches the outfit that I picked. Let's see. I've got the lab coat right here, and I think it's a pretty good match right now. So I think the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off the sleeves a little bit. If you remember, he had these kind of raggedy sleeves. I'm going to go ahead and get those cut off, and I think I am done with this. I also I painted my gloves a gray, and I used a gloss. I don't know if you can see it. Like an enamel gloss. I have it right here as well. It's this right here. It's gloss clear, and this is by Rust-Oleum. I sprayed that on there to give it like kind of like a rubbery look. I think I did a pretty good job on that. And now that my head is done, I'm going to use my second matte. This right here is a matte clear enamel, and I'm going to use it to kind of like seal the head and, you know, give it a uniform appearance. So I'm going to go ahead and spray my head, and I think it's done. It looks done. I'm going to spray my head, and I'm going to cut the sleeves off of my lab coat, and let's get him dressed. You know what? I decided to put this this dry brush in there. It's that Key West. I'm just trying to highlight that surgical cap a little bit, because I want it to look a little bit more like cloth. And I'm hoping this will do it. Yeah, just a little highlight. Okay, now I think I can get this guy painted. I mean, covered with my matte clear enamel and get that outfit cut. Okay, I'm going to start small. I'm just going to make a cut right above the cuff here, and I'm going to make it parallel to that cuff. Okay, and I'm going to do the same thing over here, cutting out the same amount in the same direction. Okay, looks pretty even. And then I got my little scissors here because I'm going to make the ends of it a little jagged. I guess just use your best judgment on this. I guess there's no rhyme and reason, really. Just wanted to look a little ragged here at the arm. You know what I should have done? Just cut through the fabric on both sides. Save myself some time. I guess, but you know, maybe it wouldn't be, it might be better just to cut it separately, I guess, because then you have a little bit more variation. Kind of like the look I was going for. Let me try this one with cutting both sides at once. Oops, didn't show that on camera, sorry. All right, let me go ahead and get him dressed. Let's take a look at him. Okay, a couple of things. You know, I found the size that I needed, 5/32, and this is a pretty good size for rasping out the little socket there, and then the handle fit perfectly. It's nice and snug and still has that range of motion. And another thing I forgot, this technical art coat is a really nice gloss. I have his head covered with that matte clear coat, but I'd like to make his eyes kind of like glisten, so I'm just going to add some of this, kind of like directly to the eye. And it's kind of like a gloss. It's not a huge detail, but this technical art coat kind of gives it a little bit more, I guess, oomph. You know, see, there's the eye glistening. Now you have to do this after you place the, after you paint it with the matte clear enamel, because the matte clear enamel would bring it down to like a flat. So you just apply it afterwards. All right, I think he's done. I'm gonna go ahead and get the stretcher and take a look at Dr. Coffin with the stretcher and one of my Scooby-Doo characters, maybe Scooby-Doo himself. Now, if you remember, Dr. Coffin used these little gurneys to smuggle gold across the border into Canada. So I wanted to have a little buckle system. There's a printed buckle there, but I wanted to have a real one so I could, you know, attach Scooby or, you know, even some gold bars underneath there. So basically what I've done is I got these little strips of elastic, and I'm going to place them underneath the gurney. Go across the top. And I'm simply just going to tie a knot there. get this gurney to hold a Amigo figure. Trying to get it underneath this blue part right here. It's not cooperating. Okay, so you can see where I've placed it, and that should be in line with the printed gurney strap. Okay, let me do this one. Okay, and once you get it to this point, you just simply tie a knot. It's just a simple knot. I'm just doing an overhand knot, or over thumb knot in this case. Okay, and then just kind of tighten it up. You can see that's the second strap. I'm going to do the last one, and I think I'm going to have Dr. Coffin's gurney ready to go. Looks like I might need to tighten this one up too. So that's the basics for adding the straps to this this gurney right here. Boy, Dr. Coffin looks menacing, doesn't he? I think he came out great. You know, in the cartoon, the smock was white, and of course his surgical cap was white too. But you know, Classic TV Toys doesn't make a white smock, and I did the same kind of setup for my Dr. Frankenstein, and I think the added color just kind of like, you know, made him pop. I think that's the same case as here, you know, with Dr. Coffin, just kind of makes him pop. You can see those eyes, the gloss on that also worked out real well. Just really happy with him. I think he turned out great. You know, really excited whenever I can add another villain to my Scooby-Doo collection. And here, let me pull this out too. Put these guys aside for a second. And adding this stretcher or gurney is going to be cool too. You can see I tied them all off, and I can still access the features of the piece, you know, like the arms come down. This backrest also works, but you have to kind of like pull it back a little bit. Here, let me show you. Just pull back on that strap, raise it, and then here's the arm, the support arm. See, I'm gonna put it in the middle, right there. So you can still access the features of the gurney. Let me lock that in place. Let me get the other side too. You know, Shaggy looks happy there. He's got a smile on his face, but I don't think he's happy to be in the clutches of Dr. Coffin. You know, Dr. Coffin's going to be doing some stuff to him, I think, you know, operating on him. Where's Scooby? And there's Scooby. All in all, really happy with this set. Can't complain. There's some really cool things out there for your customizing needs, or just your Mego collections if you like to take pictures of stuff like I do. You know, it's out there. Just got to kind of look for it. Hopefully I can kind of save you some grief and pre-test it. You know, that's kind of like what I did this channel for, you know, just kind of like I guess a rolling blog of what I was doing with customizing and the fun I was having with this Mego scale stuff. So if you enjoyed the video, well, go ahead and send me a like. If you really like this video, go ahead and subscribe. So till next time, you guys stay safe, be cool. Don't let Dr. Coffin get you. Moo ha 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 ha.